Bro tip number 1544. Whenever you think about giving up, think about why you've kept going this long. Bro tip number 100. Being a bro has nothing to do with gender. If you're rad and forever legit, you've got what it takes. And bro tip number 1, there's a 99% chance that you're awesome. Act like it. Hey, I'm Brennan Costello, Central Region Vice President for National FFA. Just reading some bro tips. Bro tips are one of my favorite things. They have great advice for what young people can do. And I think that FFA should have its own bro tips. But our bro tips are a little bit remixed because across the nation, there are over 40,000 chapter officers. There's over 400 state officers. Being an officer is a really cool thing. It's a big responsibility though. There's a lot of people who are relying on us, a lot of members who look up to us, and we've got a big responsibility for carrying forward this organization. So our bro tips are remixed so that bro stands for being a reliable officer. And so we have a couple tips that our team would like to give your team from our experience as an officer to what being a reliable officer is all about.
Brennan's Bro Tips.
1. Bro tip number 1 is setting clear goals. It's very important on a chapter officer team to make sure that everyone on the team has a clear vision and is together on what we're going to do. So the really important thing to do at the beginning of our year is to set some goals. Think about things that we want to do together as a chapter officer team. Maybe what are the needs of our chapter and how we can reach those goals. I suggest making sure that these goals are posted somewhere. Put them in a poster in the ag classroom. Put them up on your chapter's FFA Facebook page or website. Make sure that all our members and all our stakeholders and everyone who looks up to our FFA chapter knows what goals that we're trying to set this year. How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? 2. Bro tip number 2 is using a calendar or a schedule. Life of a high schooler that we are now is not easy. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people that want our time. So it's important that we make sure that we have a calendar or a schedule or a checklist or something like that to make sure that we stay on track and that our teammates stay on track as well. I use one of my favorite apps on a phone called Wunderlist. It's a simple checklist that I use on my phone all the time. I can print it out, I can share it with other people to make sure that it keeps me on track. Is this on? Is this on? 3. Bro tip number 3 is to check yourself. One of my favorite phrases is check yourself before you wreck yourself. And checking yourself is all about making sure that my actions every day, every week, every month on this chapter officer team are in line with our goals and our visions and what our chapter sets up. One of the best ways to do this is to get an accountability partner. This is a person that really holds you accountable to those goals and those values that you set up at the beginning of the year. On my team, my accountability partner is Kaylee. She sends me texts, emails, will call me and make sure that the goals that I've set, I'm still getting those done. And she's a great accountability partner that will make sure that I keep in check. So take that bro tip and step of making sure that we check ourselves periodically throughout this year. I wonder what a velociraptor sounds like. 4. Bro tip number 4, our last one, is to know your why. Your why is one of the most important things that you can keep in mind as an officer. As an officer, we face a lot of different things pulling at us. Conflict with a teammate, POA requirements, fundraisings that go wrong. But if you know your why, then your actions on this officer team will remain positive. Your why is really your reason for being an officer. Ask yourself, why did I run to be an officer? Did we run for a selfish reason, for popularity? Did we run because we want to give back? Did we run because this is a great leadership position that we want to be a part of? Really evaluate what our why is. And if our why isn't a positive one, it's time to check ourselves. Because whatever happens regardless on an officer team, you can go back to that why is that rock that will hold you up and make sure that your actions and your thoughts and your ability on this officer team will be a positive one for you and for your chapter members. Be a bro. Bros know what it means to be a reliable officer. Bros know that they have FFA members that are counting on them. Bros know that they have a lot of people that are asking responsibility from them. But if you can follow these few bro tips and really be reliable in your position this year, then not only will you have a positive experience for yourself, you'll create just a positive, awesome experience for your FFA members in your chapter, for the people that look up to you and the stakeholders and your FFA advisor and all the people who really look up to you as a chapter. So be a bro this year. I'd like to end with FFA's own version of some bro tips. Bro tip number 124. No one likes a wimpy opening ceremonies. You say opening ceremonies like a champ. Bro tip number 34. FFA camp instructions. Number 1, walk in. Number 2, change lives. Number 3, walk out. And bro tip number 1, be a reliable officer this year.